How's it going, Metroid fans? I hope you all are having a wonderful Christmas evening, and I just had to step away for a second. We already did our celebrating at my place and everything, and so everything was winding down when I heard this massive Metroid Prime 4 news, and I wanted to talk about it so bad, so I had to just come over here and make this video and just put it out there for you guys, because I'm actually encouraged by this news. So you're probably wondering what the heck's going on, so let's not waste any time, let's get into it. So Kensuke Tanabe is the head producer of the Metroid Prime series, and he just recently had an interview, and it has some massive developments and some massive information for us that really explains a lot of things that's going on with the Metroid Prime 4 game, and potentially about Metroid Prime 5 as well. Now, where I originally saw this was from a wonderful channel, I bring them up all the time, the Kiwi Talks channel. If you like hearing former, Metroid Prime developers and just video game developers in general give some of their thoughts, give some of their experiences, he's definitely a wonderful channel, and so you should go check him out. He's also a good follow over on X/Twitter. And this tweet that he is sharing is based on an article that is actually in the pinned comment for this video. So you can go check out the article for yourself if you want to hear Tanabe's thoughts. But in this tweet, he says, Retro never got to truly make a Prime 4 game from scratch. They had to follow the original template on the Bandai Namco version to a certain extent, because Nintendo had already burned too much money 2 years in, and Retro was tasked with executing on what was a flawed concept from the start. Primes 1 through 3 walked a perfect line, in my opinion, of Western and Eastern design sensibilities. But Prime 4 was a lot of tonal whiplash. And it's because Retro had to try and salvage some stuff from the original version. Now this makes so much sense, and some of you guys might be hearing this and asking yourselves, how is this even considered news? Well, the reason why it's considered news is because originally when they announced Metroid Prime 4 in 2017, we knew that the game was not being made by Retro Studios. So when everything was scrapped a few years in and Retro had to take over, a lot of us just assumed that everything was scrapped from the previous version since Nintendo didn't approve of it. But now we know that that isn't exactly the case. Nintendo had to take a half-baked game from Bandai Namco, and then they had to make sense of it in the lore and within the universe. Now, I actually have a video coming out very soon where I'm breaking down my final thoughts in detail about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And that video is about an hour long, and in some ways, I am very, very critical and maybe even a little bit harsh on this game. But honestly, this makes me soften my stance on it quite a bit. I did not realize how much Retro actually inherited from Bandai Namco and just had to work with it. Now, a lot of it makes sense. Now I get why there was so much NPC interactions that seemed out of place for the Metroid Prime universe. Now I get why there was this lack of isolation and a lack of traditional level design for the Metroid Prime series. It also makes sense why the story was kind of trash compared to the normal standards of the Metroid Prime trilogy. Now all of a sudden, I'm less critical of Retro Studios and more sympathetic towards them, because they inherited a bad situation that was really Nintendo's fault for not giving it to them from the start, and then they had to try to make the most of it. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I think this is great news, because what it's naturally done is kind of restored a lot of my faith in Retro Studios. Now, I don't really blame them that much for this game not living up to the expectations that I once had, because they didn't get to build it up themselves from the start. Now it makes sense why some aspects felt just like the Metroid Prime games that we had always known, and like Kiwi Talk said, some other aspects were more like tonal whiplash. So yeah, all this goes to say, I actually have a lot more faith now in Metroid Prime 5 being good, because now they'll be able to build their own story, build their own game, and build their own narrative from the very start. So honestly, whether you loved, liked, or just tolerated Metroid Prime 4, I think this is actually going to be good news heading into Metroid Prime 5. And if you believe the reports that came from Nash Weedle, that is at the very least in its pre-production stage. So I'm extremely relieved. But let me know what you guys think about this situation in the comments section below. And again, if you want to check out the article for yourself, it's in the pinned comment below. Stay tuned for my next video in a day or two, where I'm breaking down my in-depth final thoughts about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Metroid and Zelda content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.